How are you, man?
G'day, mate.
There we go. What's up, guys? This is Dale and Jim, and you're listening to a fresh new episode of the Beardy Bros. Oh, so excited.
Welcome.
Episode 2 is here for your earhole pleasure. Oh, man. It should be a good week. I don't know. What's been happening this week, man?
Oh, just chilling, just riding out this bloody isolation still. What about yourself, man?
I've been doing pretty good. I've been back at work and still been pretty hectic, which is pretty crazy that people aren't really respecting the 1.5 meter distancing. People have been running the sanitizer ride still, so people are still kind of keeping that mindful. But distancing is number one key, especially with Mother's Day this weekend for us. People have been out for shopping up big, so it's been pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's already another 24 hours, and I'm expecting cases to rise from that, really.
Yeah, exactly. I'm expecting the numbers to pop back up again. It's not pleasant. I don't like the ideas of it. Positive. My paranoia is kicking in a little bit.
Yeah, well, nothing you can do about it.
No, not much you can really do. You watched or played anything this week?
Not really watched anything, but played a few things. What are you playing? Playing Smash and Rocket League, really.
Rocket League,
Rocket League and Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yeah, going through that Odyssey. You've been doing Odyssey. I've been doing Origins, cracking that out. I've been going back over watching a bit of Star Wars, the Clone Wars series. That's pretty good to rewatch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there's a lot I missed, so I'm going back over and trying to catch myself back up again because I lost a lot of traction on that one. So it's kind of good to go back over it and rewatch it again.
Yeah, there's so many things to catch up on. Like, you just get lost, don't you? You just lose track of things.
So much. There's so much I need to watch. Still got to try and finish off my Supernatural, and that's horrible that I've left that so far behind. So many things.
Yeah, well, that's ending pretty soon, unfortunately.
Insane. Now, another thing I want to watch this week is, because that's just come out, is the Jay and Silent Bob reboot. I saw that in cinemas, but it's now out on DVD, I think, so I've got to pick that up this week and watch that again.
Oh, yeah, man.
Keen to sit down and watch that again.
Gotta be good.
It was good. So good. But yeah, no, so...
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, you'll be excused.
Oh, dear. So did you catch up on any news this week, or...?
Been pretty quiet for me. I mean, the only thing I really caught was the that Xbox premiere, whatever event that was. I'm a bit confused by the whole thing, but
that apparent gameplay premieres.
I mean, you told me it was at 12, so I stayed up to 12, and then it was like, wait, the time zone's wrong, and it was 1, and I okay, that's only 45 minutes away, but I was like, it can't be stuffed. I'm going to bed. So I went to sleep at 4 and watched it at 4 a.m. So it was only a couple of hours later I woke up.
I got a bit miscommunicated with it.
Yeah.
I read it just before it was happening. I'm like, about 11:30. I'm like, oh fuck! It says 1.
I was like, you bastard! You betrayed me. I thought this was 12.
Yeah, that's right. Just made a little boo boo.
But no, I'm a little intrigued with some of the things they announced, and then someone just really, that's what you want to go with? It was a bit weird. It was a little bit of a mess.
The games look good, but it wasn't what they promised.
Yeah, it's a bit weird that they've done that. Whatever they. I mean, did anything catch your eye out of
it? What was it? Well, just a few little ones like Scorn and that, but they didn't really show anything apart from a little 40-second teaser.
It was more atmospheric. There was a few, I guess, some character models doing stuff, but I guess it was more of the atmosphere to get what's his name? I forgot his name again. Giga.
I can't remember.
HR Giga. I keep forgetting his name, but I do like his work. Geiger, yeah. I do like his work. I hate butchering his name. It always happens every time. I always forget his name. But I've always liked his work with Alien, like how they used his inspiration of his artwork for Alien. And I feel like it's kind of nice to see what looks like to be his work inspirational, like his work is inspirational for a different direction besides Alien and Aliens kind of thing.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it looks
Well,
like it still is going to be some form of Alien based, not not like Ridley Scott's Alien. Like it looks paranormal, should I say? Paranormal science fiction, but not Ridley Scott Alien based. So that's what I'm kind of.
when that trailer first went, I literally thought it was a trailer for a new Alien game.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was like, wait, what? Another Aliens game? And then they start playing it out, and I was like, oh, wait, this is not Aliens, but I kind of feel like it could easily be misread and played into like the whole Aliens universe, but it's not. Like it's just that
Yeah,
art style.
it's just an interesting thing to look at. Like, I'm keen to see how it develops in the future. Like, it's
Yeah,
nowhere near out. I don't think.
no, it's gonna be interesting. The other one that I thought was intriguing to me was the Medium.
Oh yes, by Blooper Team.
That looks pretty cool, going down that kind of that inspirational kind of remind me of that whole Silent Hill kind of vibe, and I thought that's kind of cool to see something come back with that kind of twist element kind of thing, which I thought was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
you can go between worlds, like from from the normal world to the what do they call it? The psychological.
Yeah, it was weird. Like it's kind of cool and interesting. So I like that idea to
I
mix
mean,
up
just to be another thriller horror, it'd be one
like
to
everything
keep on
else.
your radar.
We've had plenty of those. What we've had Outlast, we've had Evil Within. There's been plenty of
Oh,
those.
this one would take it up another notch.
Yeah, especially mixing those elements. Like, of course, we've had Silent Hill. I guess you could kind of say Resident Evil, but to see something
They're not
new,
really a horror though. Like, I mean,
mix it up.
two
Yeah,
is, but anything else really isn't.
yeah. No, that's right.
It's one of them things.
It's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. What
Oh,
else? Anything catch your eye?
cool. I mean, there was two games that I might save till last because they just seem like they're the most potential.
Yep.
But like the Vampire Masquerade, that
Yeah, that one was interesting.
that looked interesting. Like that was
Bloodlines too. Yeah.
something I thought it was We Happy Few too. Like when the trailer just dropped, I'm like, oh yeah,
Yep.
we Happy Few. Nope.
Well, that's exactly it. I thought it was the Darkness franchise. Like I thought that was coming back, and I was like, what? Like, but I was like, no. I was like, no, it's not what I thought it was. But
I'm interested to see if it's a first person because a lot of shots were in first person.
yes,
Like a lot
yeah.
of the trailers in first person.
What they, I don't remember what this stuff.
Well, what was the original? Well, it was a tabletop first, and then it was an RPG
Oh yeah,
third
it was.
person.
They've done a lot. They've done a lot of different stuff. That it's because it's World of Darkness. They've done. It's one of the company. They've done a few different things before, like different elements and stuff.
It'd be interesting to see how that one plays out. Like, I mean, that could be another year away though.
Exactly. There's all kinds of things.
Just to be fair, just to put it out there, it could be a long way away.
And then that second extinction got me a little bit. I was just like, what? What?
Oh, it looks so good, doesn't it? Just that little teaser.
But I'm just like, okay, so it's going to be kind of like Left 4 Dead meets was it Tura? Dino Crisis?
Tool Rock, Dino Crisis, whatever you want to put in there.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I was like, okay, I guess we can go down that route. But
I mean, a three-person squad shooter. I mean, it's not new, but doing it with dinosaurs is interesting.
yeah, I was going to say, I will say though, it does look like the games we're getting, where we're going with what they've revealed with that. Thinking about it now, are very single player. Like they haven't really talked about multiplayer, which is good to see in a way that we're going back to kind of where gaming was. Like, yeah, gaming I guess was always kind of including everyone, but it used to kind of always be yourself. It was always making it more personal. None of these online games dragging you in and trying to still change from your pocket. Like, I'm kind of intrigued by that we're going back to that solo experience or unique experiences.
I mean, I'm all for multiplayer if it's done right.
Yeah,
Like if it's there are games that just have microtransaction after microtransaction, which takes away the fun
it's
because
becoming too
people are buying
much,
their way through it.
and I think developers are starting to finally move away from that by the looks
Oh
of it.
god, I hope so.
So hopefully that is the thing. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it actually is what they're doing. Even though that makes them a bit
Oh
of money,
hell yeah!
like it'd be nice if they do move away from that, go somewhere nice with it. But yeah, anything
I
else
mean, from that event, like there was it was very there was a lot of hype, but very little
was given?
execution.
Yeah, like I kind of
um,
do. Like it did feel like what they would kind of reveal in their video trailer for like E3 kind of stuff, or like their Microsoft, Xbox presentation that I've seen in previously years. But not really having anyone to really present it just didn't really have that. Well, what I saw anyway, there was no presentation from anyone. It was just here's a video of content that everyone posted, and I was like, that feels bland to me. Like it's just video after video. I'm like, where's the noveltiness to it? It's a bit disappointing.
where's the information? Where's the build up to it? Where's like you just
Like I
they
always
just
like
really
people
nice
hyping
to
up
check
because
it.
they'd also explain, like they'd always explain this is what this is, and then they'd go, this is the demo, and they give you kind of that setting that set it for your mind before you went in. But it was just like, here's some gameplay, watch it. And it's just like, what? Like that's what got me with like the what's that? Oh, I forgot the name of it. That blind memory, break memory. I can't even remember the name. My
Wait,
memory
what?
gone. Oh, I forgot the name of that bloody thing. Infinite. What was that Infinite thing called?
Bright memory.
Bright memories. I don't even have a bright memory with that attitude. Jeez.
I mean, that looked good, but that wasn't even a
It wasn't
gameplay
too bad.
trailer. That was a
Like
gameplay cinematic.
it was weird. I don't know what to do with half
I
the things.
mean, built
Look at
by
this.
one dude though. Like it's made by
Oh,
one dude.
what a beast.
I mean,
So,
it looks interesting. I mean, we don't really know much about it though. That's the only thing.
yeah. And that little snippet of Valhalla.
It's just they just should have called that trailer too.
I think it was just panoramic shots. I felt like a lot was just flyover shots of like the environment, a bit of running here and there. Like it was very. There was no
I mean,
real gameplay to it. Like it was okay, yeah, it was in game. Like
it
there was
was
no
in game, yeah.
gameplay,
It was,
like no teasing the mechanics. Like it was a little disappointing.
they want us to see what they want us to see. Like they set it up. Like they set up all what happened in there. Like it was all scripted. It was
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it was a bit shoddy.
I mean, I'm not saying it was bad, but it was just not what they said.
Yeah,
If they didn't market the gameplay part, it would have been fine. But
yeah, exactly. That was
um,
yeah,
I mean, the other little games like Scarlet Nexus, The Ascent. I mean, they look
yeah,
people will like them, but in my opinion, I didn't really. Some were over the top shooters. Some were just stuff I don't really play.
yeah, and that's going to be
That
the
kind
way
of
with
thing.
that. It's always going to happen.
I mean, they're the third party games. I mean, they're just other people's passion projects.
Yeah,
So I mean, you can't really expect too much. If don't expect everyone to like it.
exactly. Not everyone's going to like everything. It's just that always happens. There's games for a niche. One of those things.
Right. We got some news for earlier in the week that on Wednesday,
Yeah.
The Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners came out on PSVR.
Damn. Yeah, you were
Which
mentioning something about
that game is highly rated. People
that. Yeah.
give it 10 out of 10. Oh, damn, son.
I didn't really hear much about it beforehand until you really mentioned it to me. So I didn't
Oh,
know of it.
it's a game to keep your eye out though. Like, I mean, probably only 30 bucks, but I do recommend getting it
Yeah.
to everyone.
It was VR, wasn't
If
it?
you own VR, of course. It's
Yeah.
also on PC as well. So,
PC for PC VR. Guess.
and
Oculus.
also, hey,
I say big for the Oculus and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what I seen. I think Eurogamer would
Yeah.
playing on the Oculus. I
Okay.
think, or it could be in the Vive. I don't. I have no idea.
So many devices.
But earlier in the week, bloody, we had the Last of Us release date. Now
Yes.
it's just went gold. Oof,
Fully
just so
confirmed
close.
everything. Yeah, fully confirmed
It's
that it's
finally went
done.
gold.
Like it's kind of funny to be like, we're going to release it here. This is they're releasing it, and then after that being like, yes, we have finished the game. It's just like, would you say you finished the game first and then give us a date, being like, we're going to bring it out? Like, I guess they were
Yeah,
ballsy about it, being like, yep, we're so confident this is happening.
but the release was forced because of the leaks. So
Definitely for sure, because it was going to be the end of the year, wasn't
it was going to be like around when the PS5 that launched to be a
it? Yeah.
cross-gen.
So there
But
goes that.
someone ruined that.
Oh god, yes, because there goes the idea of it possibly being a launch title. Kind of
Yeah,
sneaky
I mean,
change to a launch title. At least I'll get the PS4 sales in before the PS5 comes out.
well, it's number one in every country still. So I mean,
Anticipated, yeah.
everyone's still buying it.
Everyone got their money back, and then everyone bought it back up again.
I don't get that though. Like, why would you cancel it and it's coming out a little bit later?
Yeah, like
It's only delayed by 20 days.
like, but even then, like originally, like if I pre-ordered the game and it wasn't going to come out for 6 months, like I would have still held on to my pre-order. That was a bit weird.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know. It's unexplainable. That is,
A bit weird.
like people just I think it's not pissed at Naughty Dog or something, but it's not their fault.
No.
Like they're trying to make the best game they can.
Yeah, exactly.
Like give them all the time they need. Come on, step it up, step it up.
I don't know. People just seem to expect so much from everything these days, whether it's movies, games, like people just like they just feel like they demand like that, like
They want them now.
Yeah.
But then they get upset when the game's not bloody finished.
Mm.
But they rush them into it. Like,
yeah.
give them a break. What do you want? A well-polished game or a rush buggy mess like Fallout 76?
Yeah, well, there's Fallout 76, Anthem, No Man's Sky, like things like that. They were all rushed because, yeah, they feel like they
people wanted
to
them.
live up for. People wanted
early.
them. They're like, okay, we'll get onto it early, and then people get them, and then it's not what they promised, and then they complain. It's just like, well, if you just let them do their thing. But I guess it comes down to developers too being like, they shouldn't be so like folding to the audience. Like they'll buy it either way. Just do your thing, release it when you're going to release it, work on it, work hard, give out premium content.
Exactly. It's not much to ask for, really.
Exactly. No.
But people are impatient. They want everything now. Exactly. What about on your Star Wars news before, man? What about Taika Waititi making
Yes, I talked about this earlier without the podcast. This is a discussion we came across that we saw. Taika Waititi is going to be doing a next Star Wars movie, which I had said in the past that if anyone was to do a Star Wars movie, I highly suggested that it would be Taika Waititi. And now it's happening,
Yep.
and I'm like, yes! Like, he did that one, like, episode/scene kind of stuff for The Mandalorian, which was friggin' insane. It was so good. And now he's doing a whole fucking movie. Like, we saw Ragnarok. I kind of want to go and watch Ragnarok again because of just how amazing it is. And, like...
He combined humor with action, like very well. Like, it just worked.
Like Jojo Rabbit he did. That was an excellent movie. Telling a story of history through the eyes of a child, him playing Hitler, all that was amazing. Like, I saw that in the movies, like, way before this nonsense. And
yeah,
it was such a good movie.
I can't really comment on
It was so good. And that's Taika. Like, he knows how to balance humor with seriousness, and he's just such a well-rounded, like, director. Right, like
also without being offensive to anyone.
Yeah, like he doesn't take the offensive route. Like he doesn't kind of use dark. Like he kind of balances the dark humor, right? Like he just naturally gets everything perfect. It's amazing, like how well he does everything. He's so good. Man, Taika Waititi, if you ever hear this, man, if you ever listen to the Beauty Breast podcast, we love you, brother. He can't
And
have.
if he can make a good Star Wars movie, I reckon he'll bring it back
Oh, he'll
to
fix
being
it up.
good.
He'll fix up
He
that
will.
hot mess. Like I do enjoy the movies for them being movies, for them being Star Wars. It kind of hits me in
I
that weird spot.
mean,
But like for movies just to sit down and watch, I can sit down and watch them. That's fine. Like I said, when it comes to them being Star Wars, if I take it from that perspective, it's a bit like okay, like it's a big hot mess, but I feel that Waititi's going to bring it back around, and he's going to like do where the new direction's going because now the Skywalker saga has pretty much wrapped up.
officially ended.
Any Star Wars
Yeah.
movie that goes anywhere now, it's a whole new franchise kind of segment of it, and I feel like starting scratch. I guess there's a lot of weight on his shoulders to a point, but at the same time, he's going to be amazing either way. Like he's such a good director and everything like that. He's amazing.
You could tell what Mark Hamill thought of it though, because he walked off set many times during those
Oh,
bloody movies.
he got so frustrated with the early ones because they
Like, he
changed.
wouldn't even associate himself with them in the end. Like he just
Oh, and I don't blame
wouldn't
him
even
to
do
the point.
premieres
Like
or nothing.
everyone having their own directive input and decisions on how like everything was done. It's just like, what are you doing? Like, why is all conflicting to try and make it your own movie? Like, it's not like yeah, you're the director, but it's technically not your movie. It's a franchise movie. It's franchised by what used to be Lucas, and now it's franchised by Star Wars. Like, it's Star Wars. Like, don't try to make it your own film when it's owned by the Star Wars family. Like, what are you doing?
Like do your own spin, but make it still within the realm of
Right
the
in.
original
Like,
story.
especially when someone sets up an arc, follow that arc, not just let's break that arc altogether, snap its neck, and then go off in a different direction. Like, geez. And that's just, like, that. The Force Awakens was there. The Last Jedi tried to, like, guide its way, and then the Rise of the Skywalker tries to retcon what the Last Jedi did because it flubbed things up going in a different direction and then try to bring it down. That movie tried to do way too much because it tries to kind of ignore what happened in it, but then kind of
expand on that as well.
And it's just, it's so hard. And it just shows you when you have one person fuck things up already, when things are already kind of a bit of a mess, it's just gonna, you know. But I still like the films. Like I've still bought everything. I own the whole Star Wars set. Like I still like it as a Star Wars thing. Like you can't not have. But
you just watch them as a movie, not
you don't take them. Like the other, like another hot mess of a film, like Dragon Ball Evolutions. Like that tarnishes and shits all over the Dragon Ball name. But if you take that as just as a movie, it's a fairly decent movie. If you associate it with Dragon Ball, it's just like, what the fuck is this shit?
I forgot that movie even existed until you just mentioned it.
Someone mentioned to me the other day, and it brought it back into my memory, and I'm just like, why did you remind me? Like, it feels like not a 90s, but it feels like a 2000s superhero movie. Like, if you ever watched, like, superhero movie, which that's better than Dragon Ball, things like that, like, and that's the thing, making movies based off franchises are a weird mix. They either work or they don't. You look at Transformers. You've got Transformers that based off the existing universe, which again was doing what Transformers TV, like the cartoon, did in the first place, which was they made a cartoon to help sell toys. The live action movies kind of made the story based off, but then they used the movies to help sell toys. And look at the upmarket pricing for the toys now. Like, they're freaking ridiculous. A small toy that's about, 20 centimeters tall goes for like $40. It's just like, that's a $5 toy or $10 toy. Why is it going for like $50, $60? And this is like retail price. It's phenomenal.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Those first 2 to 3 Transformer movies were actually good.
They were good. It was the fifth one that felt like 2 movies in the one that they just mashed together so badly. I was like, you go through it, pace is right, then it feels like a completely different film chucked in halfway through, musts the whole story up, and it's just like, what? And then Bumblebee tries to rewrite history because it makes this whole new arc line from the original. I was like, oh.
That was a good movie though by itself. That is a good movie as well.
Deadline, brilliant film. If you take it from that universe, if you take that Bumblebee movie out of make it as its own universe, it's a fucking brilliant film.
That's technically a prequel to Transformers, though, really.
Like, and that's the thing. Like, you got franchises that do stuff, like the Assassin's Creed movie, like playing the games again, and like the movie's not that bad. Like, it's actually pretty. I thought it was very weird at first, but then you kind of think at how things work, and it kind of makes sense because everything's different. And that's where you got to get your interpretation from. It's like it's one of those things because the games definitely try to tie that movie in. So
You just try and make it too dissimilar, so people just think what.
and that's exactly it. You can't
Like,
make it too much the same, and then it feels like you're doing a knockoff, even though it's meant to be part of the franchise. And then you do too
yeah,
different, and then you're changing too much. And
it's
like,
just a balance you've got to get right. To
yeah,
be fair,
and that's and
some
that's
some
that's
some
exactly
people
it.
do it well, some don't.
Exactly. And there's what are we saying that's like Dragon Ball Evolution was bad. The last Airbender was bad. Like what else was there that you can think of that was bad that tied in?
Uh, um,
You can remember that you haven't forgotten because it's just like let's wipe that out of my memory.
the Warcraft movie.
Oh, the Warcraft movie that I've still tried to watch multiple times. That I still need to try and finish watching. Yep, that's another one.
I didn't
Warcraft.
watch it, but I was looking at it when I when I had it on.
Well, yeah. Well,
Um,
bounce. I'll say if there's something else you can remember, say bouncing from that topic. Something I wanted to bring up was if there's a franchise that you liked, because like I've got like because thinking about things that I like that people dabble in is like the Halo films. People have done Halo like movies, series, of miniseries and stuff that tied into the universe, not directly connected. Like it's not directly part of
yeah.
it, but it's like side stories. So a thing I wanted to ask is like if you ever thought of from a franchise, what kind of movie would you want from a game that would expand the franchise? Like, I mean, games can be like not even just games. Like we've got like Tenacious D, the Pick of Destiny that came out years ago, and that's based off like Tenacious D's soundtracks and stuff like that. Like that's based off music that they made a movie for. Like, is there like a band that you like a movie or even a game or something like?
I, I would love to have a. I mean, there's already been a game, but I'd love to have a modern day Small Soldiers game. Like, just
Like base, like kind of like maybe like a reboot kind of thing. We reckon like
yeah,
maybe
like
like the
a
Chucky thing, where it's kind of like the new Chucky movie did, where they like re-released the toys and they made like that's what the movie was directed at. It's like what if the toy was released in modern day? Like what would you go like Small Soldiers if they re-released the Small Soldiers toys today? Would you want a game kind of based off that? Is that what you like? Would you go down that route?
yeah, like just bring a reboot, like just redo it.
Bring a
Just
reboot and expand on that
like
universe a little bit more.
have a team versus team, maybe
Like do a sequel
commandos
kind
or
of thing.
organites.
Like I say, like even
I mean,
expand
yeah,
like how Jumanji did, or
there'll be a campaign like just go behind the scenes of like what the commandos or you play as either them or the Gorgonites, just like what they
yeah,
were doing behind the scenes, like
yep,
because the movie's over a few days, but it cuts it down. Like you don't know
yeah, like actually
everything
play the
around.
movie kind of thing.
Yeah,
Actually
like
play
get
because the
get them
game
ready
was a
for the
bit different.
war. Get
Because I
them
do remember
like
I was
through
gonna
the
say I do
war.
remember the game that they did, the old one you're talking about, and it was just kind of like one of those typical movie games that didn't really have anything to do with the movie.
It was in the underworld, and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah,
You're like getting keys to open doors to fight other.
that was
I
see,
don't
that's
know.
that's that's going in the opposite direction. That's a cool point. Make a
Yeah.
game based off of a film, like more in depth. Like I said, like we've got Assassin's Creed, like I don't know, and we've got like Halo for me, like that's kind of cool done stuff. Like that's always a topic I've always seen. Like maybe like Minecraft did it a bit differently. Like Minecraft kind of did it with another game kind of thing. They kind of delved further into the Minecraft universe by having like Minecraft Telltale series. Like it's interesting how you
Oh,
can
oh
take it.
yeah.
Like I don't know, like even music videos themselves. Like sometimes, because if you go to music, like you had the Tenacious D movie, which was based off kind of like set like because they had the soundtrack as well for the movie. Like you've had,
Mhm.
I've been listening to them again. You kind of had like their old album, which was technically based after the movie, but the movie came out after the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like what? Like to think that up and like I don't know like what else you could expand. Maybe a Grand Theft Auto movie. Like maybe have like you've had like that'd be
I
kind of
mean,
cool. Like you've had like games that kind of have setting. Like so you've had like Grand Theft Auto One was set like how that was. Like you've got like um three, which was set in Liberty City, and it told its story. Like maybe if they made like instead of like making a new game, they made like the new title a movie or a series. Imagine how that would be like going like here's the new episode, like here's the new installment, but you're not playing it, you're watching it. Like,
I mean,
like,
there'll be a lot of criticism for that because
oh,
I want to play it,
it'd be
I want to
messed
watch
up.
it, I want to
Like,
play
imagine
it.
like the first game rebooting the first game as a movie and telling the story because it's a small enough thing, or like what's the GTA London? Like, imagine telling that as a movie, like to expand to the kind of like not reboot it into a new game, but rebooting a game into a movie. Like that'd be interesting to do. I've always thought about something like that. Like that'd be an interesting take.
I wouldn't mind a Far Cry movie or a TV show at that.
Well, actually, speaking of that, a long time ago, this came out 2000s. There's actually a Far Cry movie. It's an independent company. It's low budget, but it's set off loosely off the first game, if I recall. I've actually seen it. He had the Hawaiian shirt, and he did, and the whole thing. It was called Far Cry as well. I'll have to tag the link in this. But that was an interesting film. So speaking of that, like I have seen that, but going, I guess, where Far Cry's gone now, like I guess maybe based off like loosely around maybe 5. I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, they really are mini movies though, because the cutscenes you watch them as a bloody movie.
Or even that, like yeah, exactly. Like they're insane. I don't know. What about Duke Nukem the movie?
Hey, Duke Nukem one.
Duke Nukem the movie.
That would not go down well.
It'd be not in this day and age. I don't think now. Not to start feeling offensive to the quotation snowflakes, because that term I do feel kind of uncomfortable with towards people. Like there's a balance between calling people snowflakes and then people being snowflakes and causing drama, but like I don't know where I'm looking for because it's not directed towards like not snowflakes and the LGBT are two completely different things. Don't get me confused with that. Don't make it like I'm trying to tie in snowflakes with the LGBT because like that's a completely different thing, and I support that the LGBT. But I don't know what the rest of it is. Like that's fine. Like I support that, but like I can understand kind of maybe the feminism behind things because all this stuff kind of gets tied together. People that are feminists get called snowflakes, and everything gets blown out of proportion, and it's fucking horrible. But I can kind of see, I guess, like it'd be cool from my perspective, growing up with Duke Nukem, to see a Duke Nukem movie, but with the amount of like, I guess where you're going as I'm guessing sexism is maybe what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say because Duke Nukem is very sexist.
His humor is very
vulgar,
male centric,
very typical male. But I mean, it would be kind of funny to be kind of like, in a way, to most, it's more of, I guess, been more towards the modern day feminism. Feminists being
if
like,
done
fuck
right,
you.
If done well.
But like, then that's another ball storm altogether. Like, feminism is another thing that I don't really want to get into because that's a whole shitstorm of rights and stuff there. I don't even want to go there. I'm going to cut myself off.
Just get Taika Waititi onto it.
Taika Waititi onto a Duke Nukem film, and then you pretty much have a Taika Waititi should just do a Deadpool.
He's kind of got the chops to do a Duke Nukem thing, like the dark humor.
He can do dark humor, slightly offensive but not offensive.
Yeah, like he could do that fucking well, I reckon.
Because I don't know, like, see, you could almost dabble, I guess, with the big franchise. You could almost dabble in towards a Call of Duty movie, but where do you balance it? Like, has it become too much of a war film? Is it nice? Because when this latest Call of Duty Modern Warfare went, Call of Duty Modern Warfare felt really good. Like, it was paced well, and it felt like a very interactive movie. It kind of felt like where games kind of were meant to be for, like interactive movies in a way. It kind
of felt like watching Zero Dark 30 and that really, like, it was that intense.
Yeah, well, actually, another one you've watched, I've watched it, is Extinction, is it? Existence?
Oh, Extinction, yeah. No,
yeah,
Extraction.
Extraction. So many things with these X in it, and it's confusing my brain. Extraction with
Chris Hemsworth.
That's apparently doing really well. I haven't watched it yet, but that's apparently doing really well.
It's so good. It's so good.
Like, things like that, I guess, is kind of step towards that direction of, like, Call of Duty, I guess. I'm imagining because the shooter, but I'm just thinking of, like,
vein of your it's not your typical action movie.
Yep.
It's got realism, like it's
Yep.
a realistic thing.
Well, that's where Call of Duty kind of goes a little bit, if you ignore the Black Ops franchise.
Or I mean, yeah, the Modern Warfare goes there. Like that can happen.
Yeah. I was just thinking about looking back at it, looking at my shelf of games here. I'd like to say the reverse thing of like before, kind of like what you said, like a more in-depth game of a movie, which was Small Soldiers. The Spider-Man games, like the ones that are based off the movies, that kind of go more in depth to the movie than the movie did. They're interesting as well.
Yeah, well,
Things like
that
that.
new Insomniac Spider-Man, they're going to be good. Like they've got, I mean, they're their own story, but they
Hmm.
delve into it.
Yeah, that's
Like
what I'm
they're
waiting
setting up
for.
something huge, man.
Oh, like how they've rewritten the story arc. Like they made it. I don't want to try and spoil anything for anyone that hasn't played Spider-Man, even though it's been out forever.
It's
Even
been
people
2 years.
say
Come on, like if they
like
haven't, it's just on them.
I know if they haven't played, like I don't want to go too delve into it because I don't want to like I want to kind of tippy toe a bit. I want to kind of entice and tease people to play it because by God, you need to play the Spider-Man game on PS4. Like it is amazing. I still need to finish. Like I played one of the DLCs. I've got two DLCs to finish, but I've been wanting to go back and play it, but I've got myself caught up in Assassin's Creed Oranges.
Oranges, yeah, boy.
This little joke that we've always had. Um, but yeah, like Origins has taken up a bit of my time, but I do want to get back into Spider-Man because where that story was going and how they were changing it up, but it still friggin' worked so well that it made me as
Because
a fan go like, "Oh my
they
God,
didn't
why have I
try
never
and
thought of going that
copy
way with anything?"
or
Like, it's amazing. Yeah,
they didn't try and expand anything. They made their own universe. I think it ties
yeah.
into that Avengers game. To be fair,
It kind of looks like it does with how they've designed it, and I can't wait to see when that drops to see how that's going to go. And that's why I'm very curious with games that are coming out this year, where we're getting so close to consoles coming out at the end of the year. Like we've got the PS5 that's coming that we still haven't seen when we talked about last episode. Same as the Xbox. Xbox we pretty much know all about. PS5 we don't.
yeah.
The game that they're playing forwards, which we mentioned that like Xbox is going to be doing a rollover system where they're going to kind of like trickle in the games to the Xbox, but the PS5 is, from what we're getting, is just going to be like, okay, this is it. Cut the head here. Now it's PS5. Like, how does
I'm hoping they do that.
like yeah, like, that's what we feel like we're going to get. And it's going to be interesting to see how games are going to be like transitioning over from, especially like because there's no transitioning, but like with Xbox One and Xbox Series X, they're just going to be kind of like the same kind of balanced games, and games are going to be optimized. Like that's still, I'm still questionable on that. I'm very on the fence for that kind of thing. I'm still running the base Xbox One. I've got my Halo 5 Xbox, and I'm very questionable because I struggle with like I mean my games play, but they look kind of doo doo. So I'm gonna have to upgrade at the end of the year, and I'm like, do I do I go the Series X? Do I go the full log? Because I'm gonna have to get a PS5 because it's gonna happen. Like it's one of those things. But like, where do I go? Like, it's hard
I
because I don't know
mean,
what's the games
it's
and
probably
everything. Like, it's getting me because you've got Last of Us 2 coming out. You've got Ghost of Tsushima that we've talked about is coming out, and that's coming. And they're also games that are going to be on the PS5 as well. But I'm curious, are they going to be optimized like the Xbox, or are they going to release
I
two
think
different
they I
versions
think
that you can
Sony
buy?
already
Or
said they would be.
yeah, like it's interesting to how they transition over, like how, especially in this day and age, how do you transition over? And I'm kind of curious what could be exclusives, like because the premiere kind of showed off exclusives. They I know it was a
They
weird
didn't
mess,
wow.
and it kind of was exclusive, but there wasn't really exclusives. And they're like, because I don't feel that they're exclusives because they're on the Xbox One and then optimized for the Series X, which therefore makes it to me not an exclusive for the
I
Xbox
think they're
Series X.
timed
Like I want some
exclusive.
games. Like I know Infinite's coming out, but that's going to be Xbox One optimized again for the Series X. From what I remember seeing, like what the fuck is going on? Like, are we going to have any exclusives?
Microsoft has shot themselves in the foot with this next
I am
gen launch. I think
confused with what the hell's going on. And the PS5, if they're cutting the bullet I feel kind of bad for what people are buying this year because you want to get I guess that's why they want to get like I said again, Last of Us 2 out now before the financial year, so they got their numbers up for the financial year. Ghost of Tsushima, and then you've got the other half of the financial year because that's going to be a loss because people start saving up to convert over the PS5.
That's
Like
what I mean. As soon as July and Ghost of Tsushima is out,
games are going to
they're going to
stale.
go full ball on PS5. They're just going to go flat chat on
That's why
PS5.
I feel like that's why they haven't. I feel to me, you might feel the same way. I don't know, but maybe that's why I'm thinking why they've held back teasing the PS5 is because they want to get their exclusives out, make as much money they can on their exclusives, and be like, PS5, look at all this stuff. This is how much you're spending, and not do that
Yep.
now because then if they do that now, it's going to sabotage the sales of Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima, which are their
Not only
exclusives,
that,
which help
if
boost them.
they announce PS5 and that now, people won't buy it for PS4.
Exactly, they'll buy it because if they can get a PS5 version, they'll buy it for PS5, and that counts their numbers out at the end of the financial year.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Sony's doing this the right
Or the
way.
start, wherever it sits in, because it's June or July.
Sony, I mean, they've been doing this for like 30 fucking years.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing. I have no doubt they're going to come out swinging.
Oh god, yeah. Like when I started playing games, I played on the PS1. I've still got both of my PS1s. One I got to play upside down, but I don't really play it that much. But like I played them until I jumped to Xbox because Halo won me over. It just somehow wooed me, and my dad bought me an Xbox when I was a kid, and I stuck with
Yeah,
Xbox ever since. But I played with PlayStation on and off, and I never really came back to it till the PS3. My friends had PS2s. I never had PS2, but I did kind of play a PS2. It was the PS3, and then mainly 360.
I mean, I've played both. I've owned both. I'm
Oh,
a
I always own
Sony man.
everything. It's just going to be interesting to see how I'm going to hold back until I know what's going on with the PlayStation 5 to decide what I'm going to buy first.
Well,
Because,
you've got you got the exclusives for PS5, not
but
the Series X.
yeah, and that's exactly it. And I know I'm going to have to upgrade my Xbox at some point. I've got my Xbox One. I've got a slim PS4. The slim PS4 is still going to ride out strong. Like, for sure, I'm going to definitely have to upgrade my Xbox because it's, early on models. Like, I don't know. It's like, I don't want to go the X because you've got the Series X. But then I don't really
No,
want to
but
go the
you could
Series X because there's no, I don't feel like the games are perfectly balanced for it because they're
you
being
could buy the
optimized.
one
And I'm
X,
like, I want natural
unless you'd be
gameplay.
getting the experience of a Series X. Really, like you'll be still getting the good,
Yeah.
the good gameplay because the one X will come down in price.
Oh, yeah, for
So
sure. They're
or
going
you
to
can get the
definitely have to
cheaper
come down.
next gen. Get the Lockhart,
So,
not the Anaconda. Oh,
whether it be Christmas or after Christmas, like maybe Boxing Day sales, I might even hold out to Boxing Day sales and then look at getting
yeah.
a Xbox One X, or maybe there might be a special on the Series X because it came out in November because everything always comes out in November.
Probably the best option would be to get the Lockhart, which is the less expensive next gen console, which is it's more basic than the One X, but it won't cost as
Yeah,
much as the Series X.
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays. So it's interesting that they're going to have so many different models and how they're going to make their sales and that.
And yet Sony's here like they got PS5.
But but I don't. I mean, like I said, I can't see any really exclusives coming out for the. Again, I can't see exclusives coming out for the Xbox because
No.
if you're going to be releasing them on yeah, they're exclusive titles, but for
But
Xbox and Microsoft, but they're not. They're
Xbox
current
One.
gen, not next gen. I want to know exclusives to next gen, and that's what I'm kind of curious about with the PlayStation. What could be some exclusives for the PS5?
I've got some ideas.
Because at least if they're going to cut that jump over, which which looks like they're going to do, you're going to have exclusives for the PS5. While Xbox is going to be left in the dust being their Xbox One, Xbox Series X. That's not an exclusive. That's a game that's on two different, it's the one brand, but two
Three.
different consoles. Three, whatever it is.
PC as well. They got it for
Well,
three
yeah, most of
different
them coming
things.
up PC. But at least with PlayStation, they're going to go. So next thing I want to know is what do you reckon would be released for the PS5 as an exclusive?
Well, we've already had confirmed that Guerrilla Games are working on Horizon Zero Dawn 2. That's
Definitely know that.
inevitable.
We already knew that. They're already working on that. So what do you reckon? Do you reckon that'll be an exclusive? Do you reckon that'll be
Also,
launch?
another Guerrilla Games, it could be another Killzone. It's a 50-50, I guess. Like it could
That's
go
always
either
been a
way.
moneymaker for him as well. That's exactly it. That was been. I've always thought, especially with the PS3, the amount of kill zones they released for the PS3, the amount that I bought every single one of them for the PS3.
They're just
like,
so good though.
like exactly it, and that's what it'd be interesting to see what they come back with.
But
Oh,
they
you know,
can't compete themselves. Like have two Guerrilla Games at launch. That doesn't make sense.
exactly when it's the one company trying to push two titles. So,
I mean, they've
what
got
do
to
you
pick.
reckon? Do you reckon they'll? Well, that's exactly. Do you reckon they'll do Horizon 2,
I
or do you
reckon
reckon
it'll
they'll
be
be left
Horizon
field
and
and
Killzone
they'll
like 6 months
later on?
later or something.
Or that's what I was gonna say. Or do you reckon they'll wow people and drop a shock ball and be like, boom, new Killzone, and then like leave Horizon for a little bit later? What do you reckon would be more impactful?
Horizon will sell more consoles straight up.
Yep, because that gained a better following.
Horizon is so fuck it. Everyone's still talking about Horizon. Like it's
I
still on
still need
people's
to
list.
play Horizon. Like I've never played Horizon. I've seen it. I've been multiple times. I wanted to pick up the complete edition and want to play it, but again, that's
Yeah,
another game that gets put in my backlog, and I really want to play it because
it's
it
so
looks like
good.
a nice open world game. It
I
looks
actually
beautiful.
platinumed
Honestly,
that game.
you platinumed it.
Oh yeah, it's so
Oh,
good.
nice. Like there's so many games I need to play. Like what else? So you got
Um,
Horizon
I
2,
got I
maybe
got Ratchet
Killzone.
and Clank, which could be a
Yep.
second one, could be a whole new game. Like
I'll say, especially with 4 kind of being a reboot in a way, like for the PS4, the one they've released, and it had
yeah,
that
that's
movie
the
with it. I guess
original.
that
That's
was
the
kind of
first
like a
one
reboot,
where
kind of
you
like original prequel. Like they could do a sequel to that. Do you reckon?
also got Little Big Planet 4. That could
Yep.
possibly be a thing. Maybe
Riding off
we
the back
haven't
of
heard no
Dreams.
news.
Well, I reckon they could do a Little Big Planet 4 or a Little Big
I
Planet
mean,
something else. Like they could have called it, Little Big Planet something, maybe a different
to
name,
show
like not
off
just have it
next
4.
gen, like maybe maybe that could happen.
Yep.
You got Gran Turismo as the launch racer,
Yep.
and I got a sneaky left field one, the Order 1886 sequel.
Yep. That wouldn't be too bad.
And
See, I was
I'm
thinking,
thinking that could be a
and
thing.
that's exactly it. It's hard these days when you look at games that used to be kind of exclusive for PlayStation that have now appeared on multiple consoles. Like
Yeah,
it's a bit weird. Like I was thinking about like Metal Gear used to be very PlayStation based, and that slowly started getting released. Like they
and
got
then
kind of released on Xbox. Like because there was that one that was like, was it Snake Eater that was on the original Xbox, but then most of them were on PlayStation, and they kind of did them for like Xbox, and it's just like that wouldn't count as an exclusive anymore, even though you've got like everything came out and everything. Kind of disappointing.
I mean, it makes sense, but I mean, Sony don't care. They've got that many bloody exclusives. They can sell a
Yeah.
few of them.
And you reckon they won't be sneaky and pull out like God of War? Do you reckon
No,
it's
nope.
too soon? When was that God of
Well,
War?
God of War came out 2018. I don't reckon the second one will be come out in 2020.
You don't reckon they could pull a fast one and be like, ta-da?
I I highly doubt it. I'm putting that as I know.
Do you reckon they couldn't keep that much low covered, like low key? They couldn't keep it that low key.
I mean, I'll be surprised if they did do it. I would be
Because
surprised.
I mean, do you reckon it would be too much of a left field to be like launch title, God of War Run Remastered? Or do you reckon they'd be too eager to hype
They
that? That'd
can't
be
do
kind of one of
one.
those
They've
things
got
where
to
they'd hype
do
it.
1 and 2. Really, like, they've got
Like
to
if
put
they
it as
were,
a double pack.
yeah, do you reckon if they were to do a remastered, they would be hyping that before it came out? Do you reckon? Or they
I
could
don't,
be, they couldn't
I
keep it
don't
low
need
key.
to.
It'd be too
Like, they
big of
don't
a
need to
news.
do
Like, do you
that.
reckon it'd be too big of a title to try and keep that low key that they'd want to talk about it?
I just don't see any God of War in the next year or two. Like any sort of
Yeah,
God of War.
you reckon they're like really working on it, like really?
Oh yeah. They'd have to be like they'd be wanting to up the first one. Like they'd be wanting to
Well,
up
actually,
up the
yeah,
latest one.
jeez. Looking at it here, I'm just looking at the facts. Um, it was released on April 2018 for the PS4. It was the 8th installment of the God of War series, but God of War 3 came out in 2010.
Yeah.
Like that
And that,
gap,
and that got a remaster for current for
like that
PS4.
gap between like that gap between the PS3 and the PS4, an 8-year gap
Yeah, well,
between
did you see
three and
God of War
four.
got the new one got declined once already, and that's why they had to remake it.
Yeah, it's insane.
That's why it
So
took
like,
them so long.
it's phenomenal to think. So yeah, you'd mostly see, I guess, maybe 4-year gap. We may not see anything to 22, maybe.
I reckon 22, 23, you'll probably get a sniff probably next year,
Get a
like
sniff.
get a teaser. But
Yeah, like that's what I'm wondering about. I'm wondering if they're gonna have any wow factors to come out from this whole COVID thing, or whether it's
oh, I
because
didn't put one
COVID's
in
going to
there.
delay too much.
I didn't put launch as Godfall because that already been announced for launch as well.
Well, that's been announced for launch.
Yeah,
Well, so that's been announced, so it's kind of like one of those things. Like it's more of, I wonder what would be kind of left field that would be surprised. Like
yeah.
with everything going on
Like,
from COVID, like what would they? Because I guess they'd kind of try to talk things out, but I guess maybe they might hold it back until they get their kind of own little, because they separated from E3, their own little thing being like, well,
I
we're
think
going to do our own
E3 is dead
independent thing.
now
This
though.
is what we're going to announce. Like, yeah,
They Sony don't need E3 at all. To be
no,
fair,
they can do their own thing. And I mean, Xbox already did it themselves with the Xbox premiere, just announcing just the titles, just being like,
yeah, but
here's our trailer thing, blah 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 blah. It's a bunch of nonsense, but
you know
like
how
it
that
shows you
went
it does
though.
work, and that's going to be the kind of the I guess a medium. And PlayStation can do the same thing, but it'd be interesting to see how they do it and how they take the approach and what they're going to do at it.
I reckon they will promise what they say though. I reckon they'll give
Yeah,
actual looks at like the next gen,
yeah.
like proper
Actually show next
gameplay
gen.
videos. And,
Interesting to see. Like we just need
yeah.
stuff. They keep hiding everything, keeping it so hidden away. It's just like, just give us,
So, what do you reckon
give us.
are a few launch titles, man?
I mean,
What do you have down?
you pretty much got what I thought they might have done, except for like there's a few other maybe surprises. Like,
Oh
but
yeah,
most stuff isn't really exclusives anymore. Like the ones that used to be exclusives aren't exclusives, so you can't really have that wow factor anymore.
I
And
mean
it's
there
just
could
like
be
I don't.
another Infamous or anything. You just don't know.
Well, exactly. There's because I said there's Infamous. There's what's that company that Insomniac? Like they did crap. My mind's blank. I've got blank mind, man. Why have I got this
Speaking of
stuff?
Insomniac, what do you think of that? There's been a rumor that Resistance is getting a remake for PS5. An old PS3 game it's coming back.
That's what I mean. Like things like that. Like it's interesting.
It could be 1 to 3, or it could just be the first one. I'm not 100% sure.
What's that? Just came.
I'm hoping it's the trilogy because they were so good. Insomniac just do the right
What if they'll
things.
come across to?
But then again,
What if
it
they'll
could
come
be.
across the VR? Because I mean, I was just looking here at some games that they've done for Oculus. Like I wonder if they'll come across the PSVR. But this is Insomniac
Oh yeah,
Games.
VR's pretty quiet though. Like we got the Iron Man game coming up. That's all we know.
And that's a bit harsh pushing that now, like coming out, sometime this year when you've got like next gen coming out. Like it's like, oh
Yeah, that was coming out like this month. But
yeah, it's just like I guess you got a couple like 6 months before the console comes. But
well, we'll see
well, that's
Microsoft
exactly. I'm gonna say
party.
the biggest. I say Insomniac's biggest title was Spider-Man, and they got they're now back with Sony. So like they did Ratchet and
Yeah.
Clank. So that's a lot of work for them to do.
Oh fuck you! I mean, doing a remake, they can get someone else to do it though.
Mm.
I'll get a
Well,
remaster going. They
you've
can do
already got
someone.
so you already got the Spider-Man sequel they're going to work on. You've already
No,
got the
that's
new
been a
Ratchet
few
and
years
Clank
away
that
as
they've
well.
rebooted, so they can do a sequel to that and ignore doing a remake. The
But
Unspoken is a VR game for Oculus, so I'd be interested to see if they maybe bring that to the PlayStation.
they can do it because they can use Sony's other teams who aren't doing anything to help
Mm.
on certain games.
And so much stuff, and they're
Like
amazing.
them being bought by Sony is a huge win for everyone.
There's got to be a move going on, especially if they specifically bought them back after like them coming over to Xbox to make Sunset Overdrive. Sony's gone like, hey, we're gonna, because they made their games were primarily made for PlayStation, and then
Yeah,
they made PC games. But that's a good thing
but
about
they
Sony
weren't
buying
owned by
like
Sony then.
no, they were like kind of just partnered around. But being that Sony's bought them any game they make, like it's going to be exclusively for more for PlayStation. But
Oh
the
hell yeah!
games they make for PC, that money goes back to Sony because they own the company.
I wouldn't be surprised if Insomniac make Sunset Overdrive 2 for PS5.
Well, I feel if they were to make a sequel to Sunset Overdrive, that would have to come out on the Xbox because you couldn't have a prequel on one system and a sequel on another. They'd have to
Oh, that's
bring
happened before though.
the sequel out on that. But then again, if they bring it on the Xbox, the money goes back to Microsoft. And there's not Microsoft, to Sony. Like I say, the companies that Microsoft has bought up that make game for both Xbox, PC, and PlayStation. So if you buy that game on PlayStation, that money comes back to Microsoft's pocket at some point. And it's an interesting market to have where you kind of have users building games for multiple platforms and the money comes back to one of the other sides. Like it's an interesting concept, but that works in a kind of monopoly format. And I guess you've got to have that. And being Insomniac Games being very, like I said, have always been kind of more PlayStation based. It's interesting that they've come back, which is good to see. So maybe they might be pushing the ante with the next Spider-Man game. I don't know, because Sony, that whole thing with like how they teased that stuff for the Morbius movie, like they use source files from the Spider-Man game, which is Insomniac. So like,
yeah, well, Venom's been
could be
confirmed for the next game, so
like maybe they could be doing something for the movie. Like maybe they're getting some game. Like I don't know. They're pushing boundaries. Like maybe we might get a Spider-Man video game movie. I don't know. Like I'm pushing the luck there, but like because they got to make it. They're already making a Spider-Man sequel. Like it'd be a bit ballsy to make a
still
game
a long way away.
but like it's interesting to see what kind of reach they're putting out. So like I don't know. Maybe they could be using the source elements from Insomniac to be like being their animators for something, and then they could be using those elements for movies. Who knows? It's a smart
God,
move
no.
doing that. It's a smart move. It's really thinking out there because that makes sense. Like you've got your animation team for some stuff to do CGI stuff, but if you've got a game company that does CGI stuff that are really fucking good at it, let them make it, and then use those elements for your movies. Like that's a whole different field. Like who knows? I don't know what they're gonna do, but it's ballsy steps.
Whatever they do, it's going to be well received.
Oh yeah, like I'm really thinking out there, man. Like it's insane.
I mean, but I don't expect another Spider-Man game to at least 2022, 23.
It had that gap definitely because you see how big like that last one was. Like, oh my god, because when did that come out?
I mean, they've already got it. Like they've got the foundation already. They just got to expand the story. Like it's not that hard. But
exactly, you've
like,
already set the base.
You don't want to give them too early, like
because they already had the whole Sinister Six thing going on, and
yeah,
it's.
I mean, guarantee the people in isolation, they're still working on games like they're like even more than they would be usually.
Yeah, that was a 2018 title as well, that Spider-Man game. So yeah, you've got a couple of years to
2022 earliest, maybe.
Because what did Insomniac work on before that? Well, I'm kind of curious how big their gap is.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Jack and Daxter that they chuck at us.
Well, yeah, that's always been a fan favorite to come back. Well, I'm still expecting to see a Splinter Cell to come back. I mean, that's multi-platform, but like I'd like to see that franchise come back. Like
it's been teased, so I mean, they're definitely working on something. Just depends. Can it deliver? Like,
so I'm just trying to think. Yeah, they did a lot of
don't
games.
Make it an open world. Just don't make it open world.
Mm. Well, looking at how they do games, looking at Somniac, they did the Resistance series too.
That's right.
Yeah, my mind blanked. I forgot about that. That's a big title. I know we mentioned it. My mind blanks sometimes. Like I forgot that it was Insomniac that did Resistance because I'm thinking of like Killzone and Resistance, and those games were big games I played on the PS3, and they kind of to me almost feel like the same game sometimes when I talk about them.
Yeah, but Resistance is something else. You're fighting Chimera and the boys on the ship.
I'll say they did Spyro, which ended up being the other Spyro games, which they got done by Bob Toys for Bob. Yeah, so they've taken that up on the mantle. So that's taken out of their hands. But looking at the time,
you can't rule out another Spyro because Sony love that.
Yeah.
But then again, it'd be exclusive because Now they're owned.
But the time gap here, Song of the Deep was an indie game by Insomniac. This has got this segment here. Put this segment right here. This is a big Insomniac segment. For whatever reason, this is Insomniac. So, sup guys, if you hear this. Um, so you got Song of the Deep, which was 2016 as well, which was July. You had the Ratchet and Clank remake kind of thing, which is the weird movie thing, and that was April 2016. 2 years later, like if you like, Song of the Deep was more of an indie game, so that's small, so we can skip that. So Ratchet and Clank was 2016. 2 years before that was Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah.
So they had done an Xbox title, then come back to PlayStation to make Ratchet and Clank, and then 2 years after that, they did Spider-Man. So we're definitely looking at a 2-year gap for the next game. So we're already in that kind of 2-year gap, but leading into being next gen, I'm still feeling like that more next year. Nothing launch title. I feel maybe more of the 21. And then
I'm still thinking Spider-Man 2022.
You reckon they're going to really work out on it?
Oh, hell yeah.
Especially if it's going to be next gen.
Well, you can't rush them out, though, because people get sick of it.
But they finished that up as 7th of September, and I wasn't surprised. I mean, I guess they would have gotten their hands on tech till, like, maybe the end of 2019. So I guess if you get a good game for next gen, you wouldn't be able to do anything.
Holiday 2021 for Spider-Man 2, I guess. I mean,
no, if you think about next gen technology, they wouldn't have gotten the tech. I don't believe development companies would have gotten the tech 2 years early.
They would have had it ages ago.
They would have had it like maybe 2019, so a year later. So then if you go 2 years from 2019, you're looking at 21, depending on when they got it and how they started working on it. And being that it's new tech, I'm imagining maybe a newer engine. So then I guess, maybe 22.
I mean,
how well they work.
I'm thinking 22, but it could be 21 if they want to get it out.
Looking at a lot of their games, they do release more primarily the second half of the year. Looking at looking at the history, they have spit out a game between mainly a year to 2 years apart on average, but they are about the end half of the year, which seems to be anything that's AAA always seems to be the end of the year, while everything else kind of trickles out through the year.
Yeah, well, Spider-Man was September or something. So.
Yeah. So I guess we wouldn't. So if anything happens, it won't be till 21 end of next year, which then it breaks that launch title period. So I don't know what comes out early year, but it's one of those things.
We just got to wait and see, man.
Wait and see what's going to happen. So I think what's really thrown the spanner into the works is the definitely COVID has thrown the whole scheduling out because like movies have moved around. Like there was movies that were supposed to be released. I think it was the next Spider-Man movie for Tom Holland, and then another movie. They've actually swapped the dates around altogether. So one was actually meant to come out in the start, and then Tom Holland Spider-Man was going to be later. They've actually swapped them around. They made the Tom Holland Spider-Man earlier, and then the whatever that movie was later. And it's kind of interesting. And that was Sony's end. So it's interesting that companies are changing things around because of everything. And what we've got, like Fast and Furious got pushed to next year, which was meant to be coming out this year, and they've just gone, no, let's just push it back altogether. Wait till people are back out, and we'll get sales that
way. That's all it is. They just want money.
Yeah, and so it's kind of interesting that I guess things would be a little bit different if COVID didn't happen, but now because it's thrown the spanner into the works, it's mixed it up a bit. So I guess
if COVID didn't happen, we would have already seen The Last of Us would have came out very soon, but
that's why it got delayed in the first place, was because of COVID, and then it got brought back forwards anyway. So we would have already been playing Last of Us 2. Like people, if COVID didn't happen in an alternate universe right now, yeah, and like I said, in an alternate universe, people are looking at playing Last of Us 2 pretty early because they didn't get COVID in the alternate universe, and they're like, yep, a couple of weeks and we'll be playing Last of Us 2, and here we are being like.
Now it's a month.
So it's
we're going to wait another month.
So I don't know. But yeah, so it's interesting to see how this has thrown a little bit of a spanner into the works. But it's one of those things.
We get to see Microsoft first party games in July, which is handy. We get to see what they're offering.
So that'd be interesting to see.
I mean, they're not really exclusives though, which is a letdown.
And that's the sad part with going into like the forward with gaming is we're going to lose out on a lot of those exclusives. I mean, it does
Well,
kind
at
of
least for the first year or two.
yeah. No, and that's what I mean. Like, it does kind of suck that because Insomniac Games is now owned, like they have taken up Spider-Man. They're really the only rights holder to release Spider-Man games in a way. So we're not going to see a lot of
Yeah,
those
well, they
novelty
make
Spider-Man
it
games.
go like you don't want a half-ass one.
No, but I mean, you've seen all like the Spider-Man games in the past. Like I've got nearly every Spider-Man card title that came out on 360. You've got like Shattered Dimensions and all that stuff, and it's like we won't be able to really see those titles because Insomniac's got the rights to Spider-Man because of Sony, and it's kind
I
of sad.
prefer what Insomniac does because it's well polished and it
Like,
runs well.
well, that's exactly it. Like they're really good, solid games, but I did like the novelty like factor to those games. Like they were very kind of a little cheesy, but they were kind of like fun,
Yeah.
like real basic, minimal kind of kids games. So there was no real effort put into them. Like for playing, you didn't really have to put that much effort into playing them, and you could play them on any platform. And now that's kind of gone to exclusive. It's kind of a kicker, but I mean that's why I buy both platforms because I can play on anything. But it's interesting that things like that can happen. So it'd be interesting to see if we're going to come back out of that because consoles are balancing out. Well, I guess it's all just time. We just have to wait and see. So
Sony won't let Spider-Man go. So
for sure, for sure, especially because of the rights with the movie stuff, they'll be holding on to those. Sony will be definitely holding on that tightly because of the whole movie rights. So that's throwing that into the works. So it'd be interesting to see where we go.
Next gen's just around the corner. All we can do now is wait.
Oh, yep, that's exactly it. So let's just wait. But no,
Only another 5 months to go.
I know we're getting there.
We're getting there, man. Hell yeah.
But no, there's but nothing else. Is there nothing else that you thought of? You wanted to bring up to people? If there's anything you wanted to bring up to anyone?
Not that I can think of. I think that's pretty much all that this week has thrown at me, really.
Yeah, it's been a pretty cruisy week. Nothing
I mean,
amazing.
I think June be quiet too, unless Sony reveal their plans. But
in June, yeah, you reckon second half of the year,
I
so
reckon
like
that's gonna
the
be
fresh
July.
start of the financial year, they'll start hyping things up because they want to get those financial numbers in.
I reckon it's going to be July when Ghost of Tsushima's out. They're
Yep.
going to go full ball. Here's the PS5. Take it. Take all the info you can get.
Yeah, because I know from what I've read from that, that's definitely supposed to be pushed for. They want to aim a lot of that towards the PS5 as well. They want to like do a lot towards that, so that'd be interesting.
Yeah, it's just wait and see. See what the next week brings us.
Wait and see then, whatever news comes, because we are, as of today, this is the 9th of May. So we've
9th? Yeah, I think so.
So it's interesting. We're only into May, so we're only in that stretch of the first week, pretty much into May, just over it. So
it feels like it's been eternity.
Oh, it's crazy. But anyway, if there's nothing else you want to bring up, that's it. I've got nothing else I really want to bring up. I can't think of anything.
I have nothing. Nothing.
Nothing else? That's all right. I think that could be that there for the Beardy Bros on this episode. We don't have any sponsors at this time, so we don't leave a sponsor message. By all means, if you're listening to this and you get this little sponsor message at the end, by all means, if you want to be a sponsor, let us know. I think we're going to wrap that there. We're going to stay Beardy, and I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for next week's episode.
And everyone have a good Mother's Day and be great, dear mothers.
Exactly. Good message. All right, guys. Bye-bye.